Assamese management lesson, Kharkhuwa management. The sixth lesson, Kothar Johot Bodapai, Kothar Johot Kotajai. Devajit Buyan, management and career guru. In the Assamese religio-cultural landscape, there is a popular saying, Sabdoi Brahma, Sabda Brahman, or sound Brahman, is a concept in Indian philosophy that identifies the supreme reality, Brahman, with transcendental sound, the vibration of the Vedas. It represents God as the primordial, creative sound that underlies all existence, conveying meaning through sacred sound and language, Shabda. There is also a Chinese saying which carries a similar meaning. A speech will either prosper or ruin a nation. Words are the most powerful weapon every human possesses. Sometimes, in moments of anger, we say things that we should never say. The person in front of us may become angry or sometimes silently walk away. That silence means something deep. Your words have hurt the person, perhaps touching their failures or their vulnerabilities. Many times later we think, I should not have said that. But by then, it is already too late. Words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. The proverb comparing words to arrows, once released, they cannot be retrieved, is a cross-cultural wisdom with very deep roots. Ancient Indian literature, especially Sanskrit texts, use the metaphor of arrows for speech and actions. The Upanishads and Dharma Shastra literature warn that speech, like an arrow, once released, can never be recovered. Buddhist texts in the Pali Canon also compare harmful speech to an unleashed arrow. Even the biblical tradition expresses similar ideas. Proverbs say, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And the New Testament compares the tongue to a small fire that can create great destruction. Greek and Roman writers also use similar metaphors. The Roman poet Ovid compared words to thrown objects that cannot be recalled. Across civilizations, spoken words have always been viewed as weapons. Assamese culture, literature, and religious teachings place great importance on controlling words and speech. This is essential for maintaining peace, harmony, and balance in the family, society, and the nation. Many relationships break simply because of wrong speech. When people become too close, sometimes mutual respect and courtesy slowly disappear. We may say anything without thinking whether it will hurt the other person, but trust is the foundation of every relationship. Once trust is broken, the relationship begins to collapse. Lack of trust creates suspicion. Suspicion generates anger. Anger creates enmity. And enmity ultimately leads to separation. Sometimes a single careless word, a sentence, or an unintended comment can lead to divorce, conflict between communities, or even wars between nations. That is why one must always be careful while speaking in groups or among friends. Words with double meanings must be avoided. In Assamese we say, Sorai mor roy, manu mor koi. Birds die while resting, but humans die because of their words. Assamese management philosophy always warns about the dangerous consequences of this powerful weapon, words or sabda. The Assamese proverb, Kothar Johot Kotajai, Kothar Johot Bodapai, teaches that our success or failure depends largely on our speech. This is a very important lesson for every manager. There is another Assamese warning, Oti Kotoki Kotekai, Boidokai Sape. A talkative person suffers because of excessive speech, just as a snake charmer may ultimately be killed by the snake. Another Assamese saying warns us not to speak whatever comes to the tongue. Sagole nakaiki, pagole no koiki. A goat eats anything, and a mad person says anything. Therefore, to control speech, one must first control emotions. One must avoid the habit of instant reaction. Even in my own life, many problems were either created or aggravated because of instant reactions. The same thought could have been expressed in a better way, with a different sentence, and the trouble would never have arisen. Therefore, the use of words and sentences is vital for becoming a successful person, a successful manager, or for success in any endeavor. Assamese traditional management wisdom also teaches, Roha rodoi, tipamor badoi, sologurir agunibai, dingit dori kandis tiniwe, somontot akutunai. This proverb reminds us that sometimes we unnecessarily interfere, we poke our nose into matters, and we react emotionally with words that were never needed. And in the end, those reactions only bring regret. Therefore, the final lesson of Assamese management is simple yet powerful. If you truly want to succeed, if you want to reach the top, control your words. Because ultimately, kotar jopodapai, kotar johot kotajai. Success comes through words, and failure also comes through words.